Hi everyone, welcome to the channel of Entrepreneurs. Have you ever thought how a student like us can start a whole community to educate as well as train other students? Well, in this video we will talk exactly about that. मैं हूं उमर मसूद और मैं लेके आया हूं एपिसोड 3 इन टॉक विद स्टूडेंटप्रेन्योर्स। हम आज बात करेंगे ध्रुव से और जानेंगे कैसे एक सेकेंड ईयर के स्टूडेंट ने दूसरों को एजुकेट और ट्रेन करने के लिए एक कम्युनिटी बिल्ड करी। सो लेट्स हियर इट फ्रॉम हिम। So, hi Dhruv, welcome to Entrepreneurs. How are you?
Well, thank you for I'm good, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to put forward my thoughts here. I believe this initiative that you started will definitely be helpful for a lot of people who are starting up right at this age, and also like moving forward to such resources which are quite difficult to find at this particular time. And the resources that you are providing, I just saw some videos of yours in YouTube, and the experiences that people are sharing, and the surreal experience which are not available in anywhere. So it's great, and I'll just wish you good luck for this entire initiative.
Thank you, thank you. So, Dhruv is a undergrad student and his love for computer science led him to start a community called Learn for Cause. So, Dhruv, talk about Learn for Cause and how did you thought about it?
Firstly, right now I'm in my second year of my undergraduation. So when this lockdown period started, our college provided a lot of resources to study. Okay, now it was quite visible that not the students from like, most of the students, the education was just not happening, and the process of online education was completely not working as we were expecting it to work. At that time, what we found is that when we were trying to find resources to learn tech stacks which are not which are actually required in the industry, if you call about any industry like Android app development or web development, the what I find my personal experience was that it was just a business out there, like the selling up of courses, and the prices that actually people demand in the industry right now is quite a bit high, and not many people can afford it. And also I believe to learn something out and to pay something so much of that level, it's just not proper, and it's just not productive. So that was one of the reasons that we were thinking up to start something which we can share our knowledge to individuals in the community, and build up a community where we just not train someone but also allow them to come and work with us in life projects. That was the basic idea. And initially it was very difficult to form the team and everything, and form the idea. Even like firstly, when you have something in your mind such like this, it becomes difficult for you to validate it, that if this idea is going to work, or it is something which the market requires, or it is something that I am feeling that it is better idea, right? So what we did is we just started this off in our university itself, and we collected some individuals, and we asked them that if I provide you the training based on what I have learned through my internships, through my experiences, will you take that in a very low cost, which everybody can afford, or you will go to some big university or maybe some big course seller who is selling you the same course or the same materials and charging you 1 lakhs of rupees? And the response that we got was quite positive. We shared this idea with our professors and everyone, and they said that yeah, it works fine, but then we have to think something for the longer run as well. Selling up of courses or maybe training individuals is not just something which we wanted to do, because that is something which is available free in YouTube as well. If you are a good learner, you can learn it from YouTube as well. So what we decided is, we then upgraded our idea. What we did is we brought in different perspective into it. I am personally very much active in open source development, and I believe if somebody is learning something and then just going and contributing to real time projects, then the person can have industrial exposure to work and how the industry actually works. He or she can actually understand the entire process. So what we did is we brought in this idea of forming a community which provides trainings free of cost, some trainings which we price, which we cost something, and along with it, we brought in the perspective of live projects, and we asked individuals and students to come and contribute to those projects in open source platforms, and uh, just get the exposure of how the industry actually works. And that is where the entire community started building up. People started investing into the idea, their time, investing their money and everything. And that is where the community actually started growing up in and around Bhubaneswar, because I come from Bhubaneswar, and so we started off from Bhubaneswar. So at that particular time, when we actually included this idea of actually developing products, developing projects along with the learning, this is where the things changed and the idea is moving ahead with the same perspective till now.
Yeah, that's very wonderful. Like I have seen your Learn from Ross community myself, and you're providing really some great work over there. And an important point that I pick over here is like when someone is starting, start small. For example, in your university yourself, get your idea validated by your peers there, and then start selling that to others. So that's a very important point that I see over here. And regarding this, while someone is thinking about ideas, when when someone is going through that ideating phase, there are a lot of ideas that come into the mind. So,
Yeah.
what was the particular reason that you bagged this particular idea and went ahead with it?
For us, it was very important. For myself, it was very important that to understand what was the demand of the market at that particular point of time. When I see India, like talking about my country,
Yeah.
the open source development is something which is not very much famous. Not many people know about it. Even the people who are in fourth year, they don't even know what is the benefit of open source development. They might be knowing what is GitHub and everything, but they do not know how to use it effectively. And when I personally, even in my first year, I didn't have any knowledge about open source development myself. There is one person I would like to talk about. His name is Kunal Kushwaha. He runs his own community called Code for Cause, and from him I came to know about this entire concept of open source development, how we can get the benefits out of it, and how it can allow us to have that industrial exposure without even doing any internships, without even going to any other company and asking for a job for us, but just staying in our home and working remote and just getting the same exposure that we actually get by an internship in some MNCs companies. So this is that is what something I was very much interested, and I was quite fascinated about the fact that in India this is something which is not yet implemented in the way it should have been. There is opportunity available. There is the you can consider there is the need of the hour that people should know about it. And if I believe if people come to know more about open source development, then the demand or the contributions that people would go and make would definitely increase. And if we educate the crowd about this entire platform and how the entire culture works, or how much the community of open source, how much willing it is to accept you as a new member and just allow you to learn and just contribute at the same particular point of time. Not many people know about it, and until and unless you go and educate them, the entire process is not going to work. So what we felt is that if we are able to generate that information into the crowd and just implement that information into the crowd about open source development and how the entire system works, how it can benefit them in their career. Like there are internships, we all know about internships, but not many people know that even working in a project and just contributing to the project can actually make your resume look good, and the employer or any company would be interested to hire you on the complete basis of your contribution that you have made to a particular project. That actually counts. We don't really know about it. Not many people know about it, this particular fact, but until and unless we go and educate them about it, the entire system is not going to work. Now, Kunal in his community, he's doing the same thing. We started with the same objective that we want to educate the crowd and make them not just learn a particular tech stack, but make them come and contribute to real life projects as well. Because until and unless you actually work in a project, until and unless you actually come and fix the bugs in a particular project and like put in hours into building a as like the benefit of learning a particular tech stack is not implemented in a proper way. So this is where I felt that yes, maybe in India, this to promote open source is very important at this particular time, and to make people aware of what open source development is and how the entire system works is very important. And that is where this idea of Enter came on, that yes, we will provide them trainings, we'll provide them workshops, we'll provide them with the resources that they require, and make them aware how contributing to open source can actually build their resume in a way that any company would be actively willingly to hire them up without any other requirements of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is a real issue, and being from a CS background myself, I can second that thing. Like open source is not a very common thing among the Indian engineering students. So
Yeah.
the next thing I would like to ask in this is when you are starting a community like this, and where you are also providing some training and coursework, so it becomes difficult to rope in people to help you begin with that. So the very first course or the very first training that you will give, you can't call some any experienced person to come and give you from scratch. So how do you manage that, and how did you build that?
Firstly, this is quite relatable to the entire term that how did we build a team, right? So
Exactly.
in our case, what happened is we started off this idea around June, July of this last year, 2020, and we started talking to our connections in the university and some other guys from the same city of Bhubaneswar, just sharing the idea and just like just discussing among ourselves that if this idea is implementable or not. But we got some few people who are actually like who have cracked some good internships or who have got the knowledge to share. We brought in those individuals and then started having discussions about how to implement this entire process. We started building the website and stuff like that. But yeah, genuinely speaking, when you have an idea like this where you provide trainings, where you talk about providing workshops or webinars and then make a community and then make them come and work with you in your projects, it's very difficult because people will often come and tell you that there are already many people who are doing it. In India itself, there are so many different training institutes available to people, and they are providing them with 100% placement, whatever the terms they use for advertisement and everything. Why would someone come and learn from you? And this was something which was a very tough thing for us to even overcome. How to solve this particular issue, that why would someone come and learn from us? What have we done that someone else is if somebody is teaching who's actually who has actually got the experience from working in Google or Facebook, and I am just an undergraduate student right now, but why would someone come and learn from us? That was something very important. And what we understood is that we had our college coding clubs and societies. We generally like when we usually go there and provide some trainings to our peers itself, because we know some tech stacks and some people don't. So we just go there and live sessions. We have live sessions and we just go and teach. So what I felt is, by interacting with people who are even working in the industry, even the professors and everyone, uh, at the time, at the need of the hour of the market, the resources that are actually needed, the industry, what the resources the industry requires, even the people who have actually worked in particular companies, they may not have that entire set of resources available to them, or maybe they do not have that uh, the way that they are providing the training, or the way they are approaching to the solution, to provide the training to a certain student, that can be quite a challenging, because the industry may not be wanting that particular aspect at this particular time. When we are coming out of this COVID-19 pandemic, industries, any company you talk about, they would not want you to hire and just train you for the next 3 or 4 months and then give you a job. They would just want that you come over and then just start working, and the next day you join the company, right? So what we decided is, there are certain domains like DevOps you can consider. There are certain domains where people, even from the industry, they are not good at providing you that knowledge. Even who are working in the industry, they are not good at providing you that knowledge. And how do you get that knowledge? By only working in that particular domain. Not many people work in DevOps. Not many people even know what is DevOps. So we took certain topics like that, like we took out topics like DevOps, we took out topics like machine learning and AI, and we started discussing about us that what is, if you can go and search in YouTube how to build a face recognition API or everything like that, but you won't get a lot of resources to build a project. Like we recently did a project with with a campus in Bhubaneswar, where we built similar to Zoom. We built a software which had this face recognition API installed into it, and we used it in a way that if a user comes, there would be this face recognition API which will work on the user, and then it will allow you to enter the meeting and then proceed with the meeting. That's the way we are having a meeting right now. So this is something which is not available in YouTube or any other resources so easily. And even if it is available, it is not available in the way the student wants it to be. Because when I was learning in my first year, I didn't find a good resource to learn machine learning and artificial intelligence, to be honest, because all the tutorials that I watched, they were theoretical, or maybe something which is very common, that face recognition or object detection, things like that, which is very much common. And there was nothing that how to deploy this thing to something else. You can learn about what is face recognition or what is object detection. You do not learn about how to deploy it into an Android app. You do not know how to deploy it into a web app. So we took those things which are not available in YouTube or any other platform, and then we started making our course structure on the basis of that. Even when we are providing courses like data structures and algorithms and things like that, we're trying to build it in such a way that you're learning DSA, Along with it, we are telling you how to deploy this particular thing into the industry, how industry will ask you to solve a question of stack, or maybe how to implement a binary tree in the industry, how what is the company asking from you, and we are giving them that exposure. So that is where I think that Learn for Cause is very much different than other training institutes, because people will tell you how to solve problems and like how to build projects, but they won't tell you how to actually build a project, like build two projects and deploy it into one, and then build something unique which is not just available in the market. And that is what we are actually trying to focus on.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So, what were the importance of mentors in your journey? Any specific persons who have helped you refine your product and grow this community even more?
When I was starting up in May or June, like thing that we had, which was quite beneficial for us, is that me and my friends who were actually a part of this entire community, we had actually had some good experience of working in startups in our first year. Our professors, they allowed us to work in startups in which they were associated with, and that actually allowed us to have some good experience of what a startup works like and how much working hours you do really have, because you like we initially worked around 12 to 13 hours every day to even build the website and manage the entire um, whatever things we had to do, manage the entire crowd, manage the entire system to just generate the ecosystem in a proper way. We had to work for 13 hours. So those things they do not come just in a 1 day or 2 days, or just if you have an idea, you just can't put in so much of work. That comes just by experience and practice. So it was quite beneficial for us that we had our professors, some professors from our university, who allowed us to work in their startups initially in our initial stages. And with that experience, that has actually helped us a lot. Along with that, I would just say again about the one specific person I believe that actually changed my perspective towards software industry is Kunal Kushwaha. He's the founder of Code for Cause, and that person, the resources that he shared, the resources that he actually made me aware of, that has allowed me to go and educate other people of my connections or my community. But yes, this is a thing that it works like this, and this is how you can get a benefit out of it. So I believe the thing that he is doing and the resources that he's providing us is so real, and this it's just not available in the market. You just don't find that information anywhere. In just even if you just go and search in Google, even Koda would not be able to answer you such question which he's actually providing us with the real experience from the industry. So I'm really like, if I have to call someone a mentor, I would rather say that yes, he was a person who actually gave this idea that yes, build a community, learn them, make them educate the community, and then make the community build something which is unique, which is not just available in the market.
Even I follow him, and I can say that he's doing a wonderful job over there.
Yeah.
And another thing that you mentioned over here, you worked like 12 to 13 hours in the beginning. So, how did you prioritize your work? You had college and you were doing this extra thing apart from your academics. So, did it affect, or how did you manage this?
Initially, like I had this habit of working near late night hours, so it was quite easier for me to just get accustomed with this entire environment and putting in more hours, because I usually work late night. And like initially, like I'm not just a person who just like attends all the college classes you can consider, because yeah, that is something which is quite difficult to handle at a certain point of time. But yeah, you have to be updated with your course structure as well, with the academics as well. So whenever there was something which is something, there are things which I already knew. Data structures was something which I already knew in my first year, and I have completed it. So I felt that maybe missing that session would not affect my academics much. But yeah, something like digital logic design, which we had, I didn't had any, like I had the knowledge, but I had to learn something from it, out of it also. So I had to go and attend that session. So I usually like prioritize in a way that I understood that which is something, which classes are important for me. I used to go and attend those classes, and the rest of the time I was to provide into my work. And also you have to do your self study. So I kept the evening sessions, 4 to 6 and 7, like for my self study, for my academics, like solving some mathematical problems and stuff like that. And in the night time, the entire team, not just me, the entire team used to like devote it to the entire community of Learn for Cause and just build the website, build the Android app. The Android app is being getting built till now; it is not yet published. So we are still like, the process is still similar. We're putting in late night hours into Learn for Cause, and the morning schedules is just going for the academic and our self study.
Yeah, so it's very important that you prioritize your work properly, otherwise you will mess up both the things actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next thing I would like to ask is, have you faced any financial requirements till now, like preparing the coursework, training, and promoting your community? Have you faced any problems regarding money and stuff?
Initially, when we were starting the community, with the initial investment was done by the team members itself. The core team members that we had around 10 to 15 people. We initially budgeted out by ourselves, but when we move forward, when we just move forward with the time, and at the time when we were actually selling courses and we were actually working in live projects, there were certain times when we were working with some hardware projects as well. Even now, we are working with some hardware projects. So at that time, we needed our finance. So what first thing that we did was we approached our university and our professors. And it's great that in our university, it's something which I don't know if it's available in other universities or not, but yeah, they actually financed us in a lot regarding our hardware projects. And the only thing that they used is that the entire project name would be belonging to the university, which was not our concern, because we had to build product. We had to make our contributors build the product and get them the experience of how to build the product. And the finance was been done by the university itself, the professors itself. So that was something which is helping till now. It is happening, so that is something which is helping us. And the other way of financing that we are trying to generate right now is that, since it's been around 3 to 4 months of Learn for Cost, we started in October, and officially. And what we are doing is we are building products now. Some, like, if you need it, suppose in case, for example, we're building a chatbot. There are enterprises which would require a chatbot. If you go to buy chatbots that the United States sell, they would charge you $15, $25 a month. We would charge maybe a very less amount, and we are providing the same software, same service. And you just go and buy the software and just deploy it into your web app or into Android app. That's simple as that. So we are trying to generate the revenue from those development sectors, that we are actually building products for ourselves. And that is a major source of revenue. We are not keeping education as a revenue source for us, because I believe that is what we are trying to abolish. This entire initiative started with the thing that we do not have to go somewhere and pay lakhs of rupees to learn something. Learning should be free. In countries like Germany, if you just know, education is completely free of cost, and that is something so good. Everybody should get the right to see equal education, because only after that we actually understand what a particular student is capable of. If you do not provide the resources and education to the individual, you just cannot judge on the basis of he or she is able to do something which other one is not able to. So we are trying to abolish that structure. It is a quite difficult task, obviously, but we're starting it from very small, from Bhubaneswar itself. And we're starting it in and around Bhubaneswar. And I must tell that, yes, when we actually started this initiative until now in Bhubaneswar, the effects are there. People are coming to us and taking our trainings and workshops. They are voluntarily coming forward and wanting to contribute to the projects. They are interested to contribute to this project, because they understand that rather than going and paying someone 25,000, 30,000 just to learn data structures, algorithms, is just not worth it. And rather than working in a project or maybe learning it side by side and parallelly, it's something which will be beneficial in the longer run.
So it's important to define your revenue models and maintain your money streams, so that you can fulfill your purpose without deviating from it. Yeah. So in the end, one question that I would like to ask is, any student that you would like to advise, why should he start something of his own, and how should he begin? Even any tips and resources you can include in that, like programs he can watch, any student facilitated programs, or any books, content, anything. Firstly,
to begin something like to just get into this entrepreneurship, if you have an idea, you have to understand the validity of that idea in the market. As an individual, you need to have that entire information in your hand, that whether this entire idea is beneficial for the market or is it not. If the market requires that in set of service that you are providing, or the idea that you have, is it implementable in the market or not, and what is your target market. This is very important. People generally have an idea, but they do not really understand who is their target market, and they start off their idea and they end up nowhere, because they targeted all the sets of domain, and then it was just not beneficial for some, 90% of the people, they did not want that resource, but 10% of the people they wanted. But since you're targeting so many people, your service quality deteriorates, and then you are just not able to meet the requirements, I must say. So first of all, get the idea validated somewhere from professors, from your peers, from just surreal experiences which would make you yourself realize that if this idea is implementable or not. Secondly, try to get some information about the market, if that idea is needed in the market or not, or how, if the idea is needed, to which domain of the people would this idea be much effective to. Like in our case, Learn for Cause, this in our entire initiative of contributing to open source projects and learning tech stacks which are free of, like, in a very less price, I must say. This is applicable to whom? Not a fourth year student, because a fourth year student is already experienced. He's already got a lot of exposure. Yeah, he can, if he does not have the knowledge, then he can come and obviously join the community and work. But if we have to just say a target market, or we say target people who will be coming and working with us, are the freshers, the first year, second year, third year people. Also include third year people, because this in India, I believe third year people also come in the same range, that yes, they will they do not just really have the knowledge of open source platform properly. So yeah, our target market becomes then the first year, second year, third year people. So in the same way, you have to understand what is the target market that you have. Okay, and once you have that knowledge, I think that you just have to build a team and try to get in like-minded people who actually do not believe in the entire set of the working or the future perspective, but rather believe in the idea, so that the idea is implementable or not. If all these things meet your requirements, then I think it is applicable, and then you can just move forward with it and put in some hard work and time. I think that is very important. If you do not put your time and hard work, the implementation of any idea would be very much difficult, because in our case also, initial stages, as I said, June, July, September, August, September, these 4 months, we had this idea in our mind, but it was not implementable. We could not implement this idea properly. We had to have a lot of meetings, we had to have a lot of discussions. We built the web app, but still it was not officially announced, because the implementation was not done properly, the team was not formed properly, and those setbacks are common in every startup, in every idea that you make. So if you the initial months, the first 2-3 months or 4 months may be a setback, but you cannot just leave the idea for that. You have to keep in, putting your work and getting individuals who are actually willing to contribute to the idea rather than the future perspective of the idea. So if you have that thing, then you can just move forward and then just start working with it.
Yeah, that's very true and very, very informative. So I guess that should be the end of our podcast, Dhruv. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope any student that watches this will learn a lot from you, and also learn a lot from the Learn for Cause community as well.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to put forward my thoughts. I hope this would be very much beneficial for the people who are actually getting started into open source platforms. And if somebody is really willing to contribute to open source, and they are wanting to know what is open source development and everything, they can come and join the community as well. And that will be a great thing to start off with. Yeah, thank you.
So that was the third episode, guys, and I hope you learned a lot from it. Learn for Cause community की link description में है, do check them out, and also join the Entreprudence community to learn from the best of experiences. Till then, like, share and subscribe this video, और हम मिलेंगे आपको अगले एपिसोड में.